Calaroga Shark Media.
Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news, a daily briefing on stand-up comedy comedians and the comedy industry. Johnny Mac, you never talk about the roast of Kevin Hart. I know, right? We'll get to that in a second, but I got to tell you, Conan O'Brien will return to host the Oscars for a third year in a row. Now, surprisingly to me, the reaction on social media was kind of meh. People are like, oh, Conan's back. They did not seem excited about it. I think Conan did a fine job, and just roll it back. The Oscars are heading to YouTube. So, you know, when it goes to YouTube, they're going to have like somebody like Mr. Beast host the thing. So while it's still on ABC, let's just do a proper show with a nice solid host. Conan O'Brien will host the 99th Oscars, March 14th, 2027. I'll have to stay up late that night. Craig Erwich, president of Disney Television Group, said, Conan has created remarkable energy around the Oscars. His singular comedic voice makes Hollywood's biggest night one of the most entertaining celebrations of the year. We're proud to welcome him back and look forward to what he and the producing team deliver next. Interestingly, I'm not seeing a statement from Conan O'Brien. I also thought the timing of that was weird. I guess it was tied to the ABC upfronts. Maybe that's what the timing was. Yeah, that would make sense now that I'm talking as I think. But just with all the Stephen Colbert noise, just seemed an odd time to announce it. The Strike Force 5 guys did put out another podcast. The Strike Force 5 are Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers, John Oliver, Jimmy Kimmel, and Jimmy Fallon. A lot of people think that the first four are pretty tight and Jimmy Fallon is an add-on. Colbert talked about how he's feeling with just a few late show episodes left. He said, it's super real. I've sunken into it, actually. What I've said is the rising tide of emotion has reached my chin, and now the only thing to do is take a deep breath and swim like hell to May 21st. He said he feels a little like a college senior, but he isn't too sure about his future plans. He says, the show takes all of my mind, like 95% of my mind every day to do the show. Until it's over, I don't really know. I've had some really nice meetings with people, like we want to be in the Stephen Colbert business, and I'm like, that's wonderful. What is that? Could you tell me, please? Colbert said that the staff has to almost immediately leave the show's offices as soon as the finale airs. Looking ahead, next Friday, they're not even airing one last rerun. They're going straight to Byron Allen's thing on Friday night. Colbert said, no one's got a job after that night. I think the next day everyone's fired. I think maybe the crew has some time to clear out the studio, but the staff has to be all gone. I think they're going to start tearing things out immediately. I know my staff is not paid the next day, like they're out. I've already packed my office. Colbert said he will miss working with young people who are good at their jobs and who you met when they were first out of college. John Oliver asked Stephen how many times he's had a guest and then vowed to never have them back on the show. Colbert said the number is probably not double figures. But without naming names, Colbert said he interviewed a former Bush administration official on the Colbert Report who only spoke negatively about George W. when the cameras were off. Colbert said, I said, why didn't you say that on camera? That's why you're here. And he goes, well, I got to get a job in this town. That's the first person I ever said that person can never come back. Kimmel asked Colbert if there were any guests he found distractingly attractive. Colbert said he didn't know what to do with my eyeballs when Michelle Williams was on. He also seemed to like Rachel Weisz, Rebecca Ferguson, and Andrew Garfield. Seth Meyers joked, by the way, we're going to keep doing this podcast without you, and it won't be the same. Colbert's been kissing people all week. On Monday night, when the Strike Force 5 games were on, the group was asked, have you guys ever made out with a guest on camera? Colbert looked at Jimmy Fallon, who asked, why would you look at me like this? Colbert said, because I think you've made out with guests on camera. Fallon said, no, I think you just want to make out with me. Colbert then pulled Jimmy Fallon in for a kiss. Colbert shared that he has kissed Sally Field, Helen Mirren, Allison Janney, Jeff Daniels, and Andrew Garfield at one point or another throughout his CBS program. Then on Tuesday night, Julia Louis-Dreyfus was on the show. She said she wanted to join the list of guests that he has kissed. Julia said, no one's watching, it's just between us. Colbert said, what harm is that? Julia, none. What could possibly go wrong? Then they kissed. That got cheers. Colbert said, well, the interview's going great so far. Why don't we do another take? Then later in the same episode, Pedro Pascal came by, and they kissed. Pascal said, I got jealous. If you can't get enough Stephen Colbert, CNN is cashing in this weekend with a CNN flash doc called The Last Laugh, Stephen Colbert. It'll be on the CNN app today. It'll air Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We are told for more than a decade, Stephen Colbert has sat at the center of late night where comedy, politics, and culture collide as he prepares to take the desk for the final time. The Last Laugh turns its lens on both the show and the man, etc., etc. Sounds like a pretty generic doc. Radar Online shading Stephen Colbert. They randomly dusted off this story. Apparently, when Stephen's appendix ruptured in late 2023, he feared guest hosts might overshadow him. Now, even David Letterman last week told Bill Simmons that Letterman didn't like the idea of having guest hosts because he never wanted to give up the desk. So let's not throw Colbert under the bus here. Who's the last person that sat in for Jimmy Fallon, huh? Now, Jimmy Kimmel seems a little more secure. Oh, I keep forgetting to mention. Let me get this point out here. Maybe I said this. I keep thinking of this. Is Jimmy Kimmel insane if he takes this summer off? Because the Colbert people are going to want to go somewhere, and I think the most likely landing place is Kimmel's show. And then Kimmel usually takes July and August off, and you'd have guest hosts. I think he should probably work this summer. Now, I know that's a big ask. Johnny Mac doesn't like working in the summer. I get it. But boy, to capture that audience, maybe don't take 2 months off and do fresh shows and try and get the former Colbert people to like you. You could be the king of late night, make a lot of money. I know they keep talking about Jimmy might walk away, and I don't see it. He's roughly my age. I think he should work. We'll see what happens. Anyway, back to Colbert and guest hosts. An insider told Radar Online, Colbert's decision to stick with reruns highlights a deep-level insecurity. Stephen is not exactly a pass-the-baton type of person. There's no chance of him handing over the reins to someone who might want to push him out of the way, too. And at this point, it's a moot point. Michael Che has weighed in on the roast of Kevin Hart. 2 sources involved in the production tell Variety that Michael Che was supposed to be on the roast, but had to pull out because of SNL scheduling difficulties. Variety says Che was not alone. Sources say the roast lineup had undergone quite a bit of shuffling, with several last-minute additions and dropouts. That's interesting. Michael Che went on Instagram and commented on the roast. I'm going to swap out the N-word and I'll use the word fellas just to keep the rhythm of what he wrote. White guys and black people joke different. Black guys roast like, look at this fella's shoes. White roasts are like slavery, maths, lane teens, sex crimes, slurs, family secrets. White guys don't give an F about the shoes. Che, in a separate post, wrote, let's do a roast celebrating the career of the most successful black comic in the last 10 years. I love that. Who should we get to write it? On the next slide, he included a photo of the 5 joke writers hired by Shane Gillis, all of whom are white. Variety pointed out the telecast had 17 credited writers, quote, several of whom are black, unquote. Many of the comedians hired their own team of writers, including Tony Hinchcliffe and Chelsea Handler. Pete Davidson's writing partner, Dave Cyrus, listed several jokes he said were cut from the roast. I'll do my best here. In one of the jokes, Kevin Hart was called the Michael Jordan of baseball of comedy. Kevin's in superhero shape. He could star in Wakanda 411. His next one's pretty good. This is about Kevin Hart's car accident. Kevin got drunk and hit that tree so hard he had to stop making cookies in it. New topic, Draymond Green. Draymond is probably 4 to 5 years from being in the Hall of Fame and 45 minutes from being in Chelsea Handler. That's a good joke. All jokes aside, Chelsea Handler is a killer, especially if you believe life starts at conception. Chelsea effed 50 Cent so long ago the magic stick was what they called a musket. Yes, Chelsea aborted a fetus and he's here tonight. Jeff Ross, take a bow. Oh man, I'm going to hell for that one. Chelsea, anything else you want me to say to your kids while I'm there? More jokes. You may know Tony Hinchcliffe from walking through his mouth to enter amusement parks. That's really good if you get it. That's very, very clever. It might be too deep. I first met Big J when I was 16 years old. Jay, it must be finally nice to hear those words outside a courtroom, huh? Tiffany Haddish, who was in attendance at the roast, told TMZ she didn't hear the George Floyd joke said by Tony Hinchcliffe. She told TMZ, the roast was so much fun. I think it should have been shorter. The show was too long. I didn't hear the George Floyd joke because I had to pee so bad. I was a glorified seat filler and I was tired. Sometimes political correctness does not fit in comedy. Freedom of speech is alive and well, and it's alive on Netflix. Variety had asked Jeff Ross, why was Tiffany Haddish on the dais but not even referenced in the roast? Jeff said, I invited Tiffany. She's a good friend of mine. She's co-starred with Kevin a couple times. We just wanted to populate the dais with his friends and make him feel comfortable. I wanted him to feel like Frank Sinatra, surrounded by the Rat Pack. Lowrell Howery weighed in on all this. He posted a 3-minute video on social media. Howery said, what I'm annoyed by, and I'm just keeping it 100, y'all, I don't understand. It's one thing to roast people that's there. It's one thing to roast the people who may be in the audience. Roasting someone, number 1, that's dead. Number 2, that's not there. Number 3, that the implications of why you shouldn't joke about that. Tony Hinchcliffe's joke about George Floyd didn't make effing sense to me. It was no reason to bring George Floyd into this. It was just disgusting. The audience was okay booing Draymond Green every time his name was mentioned. Y'all could boo, but you don't boo Tony Hinchcliffe right after that? I get it, man. I'm okay not being part of this clique BS that's going on in comedy. I 100% would have booed that MFer and probably walked out. That's all I'm saying. Howery concluded, why can't we just agree that bringing up George Floyd the way he did was effed up and not funny and not needed? It wasn't even needed. I ain't like that.
Comedy stock market.
Thank you, Burt Reynolds, voice of the comedy stock market. Every week we take a look at what comedian stock we should buy and what comedian stock we should sell. We're not saying these people are good or bad. We're just looking to see who's overvalued and undervalued. Why don't we buy some Tony Hinchcliffe? Now, I know some people are like, whoa, Tony Hinchcliffe, but you know what? Hinchcliffe is reliable. You put him up there, he does deliver. Yeah, some controversy comes with it, but that's okay. He stays in the mix. Kill Tony's sailing along. We'll buy some Tony Hinchcliffe. Let's also, we'll throw deep here, let's buy some Ian Carmel. Why, John? Remember I told you the other day he's going to be co-hosting that FIFA show, the World Cup show? So he'll get in front of people, and maybe that'll up his profile. So let's buy really low on Ian Carmel. Maybe we'll cash in on that. I was looking at Kevin Hart. At one point, I had it as a sell, and then I upgraded it to hold because I'm looking at the cast of the movie that's coming to Netflix in a month, and it's him and the Please Don't Destroy guy and Marcelo Hernandez, and I just feel like people are going to like that movie, at least in a Netflix low-bar universe. So let's hold Kevin Hart, and I've got two sells for you. Let's sell Cam Patterson. I assume this will be his last appearance on Saturday Night Live. I don't see him coming back. I've said that all year long. I think he's one and done. He's also in the Kevin Hart movie, by the way. But despite that, let's sell Cam Patterson. And let's sell Nikki Glaser. What is Nikki Glaser right now, career-wise? So Conan's coming back to host the Oscars. So despite the soft campaign, she's not getting the Oscars. She didn't show up at the roast, so she's no longer the killer roast comedian. So Nikki is what? A solid guest on Kelly Ripa and The View? Okay, sell. All right, let's sell Nikki Glaser, sell Cam Patterson, buy Ian Carmel, buy Tony Hinchcliffe, hold Kevin Hart. That's your comedy stock market for this week. And we are long. I'm going to leave you with this. I've been bouncing this all week. The Flight of the Conchords did do their reunion. You may recall their famous song, The Robots Are Dead. Jermaine Clement has updated the lyrics in the voice of a frustrated robot. The lyrics are now, humans invented artificial intelligence, and they had us doing really stupid stuff with it. Brett McKenzie added, they gave us all the knowledge, deep learning, gave us the power to solve complex scientific mathematical equations. Then they just asked us questions like, how do you cook an egg? The Guardian gave the show 5 stars. They said McKenzie and Clement were clearly enjoying themselves, and their musicianship was on full display as they harmonized and played an array of instruments, including guitar, bass, keyboard, flute, and various digital devices. Clement's voice was particularly rich on stage. The records haven't always done it justice. There were a few mistakes along the way. One song suffered from extensive lyrical confusion, but the band embraced those moments to cheers. They played most of their hits, including Business Time, The Most Beautiful Girl in the Room, Bowie in Space, Carol Brown, in which Clement lists all the rhyming ways his exes have left him, a sort of 50 ways to leave your lover in reverse. McKenzie said, we're not really playing new songs, but they're new to us because we can't remember them. That's great. Other highlights included appearances by Rhys Darby, who played the band manager Murray on the show. Kristen Shaw, who played obsessive fan Mel, was there. Arch Barker, who played the band's friend Dave, was there. Arch opened up the night with a stand-up set. This sounds fantastic. Darby appeared on stage to conduct a raffle for an onstage VIP experience with the band. Who won? Mel, played by Kristen Shaw. She was offered the opportunity to touch both men for 30 seconds. Oh, so much fun. The duo were backed on some songs by the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra, which was a single cellist named Nigel Collins. And I'm going to end with a clip. I'm not sure this is the best audio, and it's kind of long, but I'm going to play it for you. And that is your comedy news for today. If you would like this program without commercial interruption, you go to the Apple Podcast app, you click the banner, it says Uninterrupted Listening. It'll take it from there. A short version, 30 days free after that, $5 a month. What time of day does it come out? 7:15. Why not 3 a.m., John? Because John has to do it manually, and John gets up at like 6:10 or so and needs his coffee and finally opens up the laptop, and you usually get the commercial-free version by like 7:15. Just dealing you straight. Free for 30 days, $5 after that. Great way to support the show. Apple Podcasts, Uninterrupted Listening. See you tomorrow.
Hip hop, hip hop. segment.